Alright, here we are, the long awaited and highly anticipated episode 4 of Nigel's Views on Paxton Road TV. Be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't. This one's just going to be, the international breaks happen, so let's just talk about the season so far. 7 games, 12 points, and to be honest, I think we've managed to split 3 separate seasons into one. Only Tottenham Hotspur, but we had obviously the title-winning season within the first 3 games, the relegation season within the next 3, and we've had an awakening, if I'm generous enough to call it that, against Villa, where we've actually shown some cojones. The first 3, on my first one this season, I kind of discussed, obviously, there were some things that I wasn't convinced about, certain things that I had worries about, but I could see how we would get better, right? And I hoped that it would come together, but I wasn't taking it for granted. We had the second batch of games, and there was no Nigel's Views, but I was on the reaction after that 3-0 thrashing, saying, this is the state of our club, right, where the toxicity is at a point where all it takes is a run of bad games, right? And it was with that unconvincing draw against Rennes and some team selection decisions that were a bit confusing, and immediately the fan base was like, Nuno out, right? Because that's where Tottenham is right now. Every single thing is, it's on a knife edge. We're constantly on the border of we love our team and we hate our team. I'm leaning towards I hate our team. I'm beginning to, a lot of these players, I see them now and I'm beginning to just be naturally inclined to dislike them. And I've been seeing them for too long. It's grown stale, and that's where I'm at. So I'm ready to jump out of the window at any given moment. But having said that, as this is an overview, listen, we can't complain. We are 4 points off Chelsea, right? Which is top. We're 2 points above Arsenal. We're not exactly where we want to be, but we're in all the competitions. We beat a Premier League side. That team in the Conference League, Rennes, then proceeded to give PSG fits, in the French League. So, in totality, it's really hard to kind of look at it and say it's anything specifically that Nuno's done right, or anything specifically that the team has done in terms of where we're at. It's like United. United should fire Ole. That's a given, right? But can you finish a guy he wins? That's the most annoying thing about him. He'll win. So you want to fire him, but what can you do? You finish second. I feel like it's the same with us this year. We want to fire us, but you have to hold your horses, because you're to be fair, this could be going a lot worse, right? It's just not, it's not as bad as it is in our heads. It feels much worse than the reality is, but again, such is the Tottenham, that's where we're at as a team right now. If we talk specifics, the latest kind of evolutions in our team that have happened, I feel like, I don't know why, but Delhi's a bit of a hot topic in the fan base at the moment. The Paxton group chat has had a few heated ones. Ask Sid, OG from Sid Says. He did obviously show the Delhi lovers versus the Delhi haters, the Dalai Lamas, and I praised him myself. I'll hold my hand up. I was deceived and bamboozled by running, which has become a luxury at Tottenham Hotspur. Players who run, and you know what I say in Delhi, fair play, and I still say fair play to him, because he worked hard in the off season, got his body right, got himself in the right place, to be able to do what he is doing now, which is running. And to be fair, it's not one summer's going to turn anyone into Zinedine Zidane. I think I'm happy to say Delhi's probably not a naturally gifted technical player, right? And I'm happy to say he probably needs a certain kind of team. And I will also happily say that Tottenham is not that certain kind of team at the moment. We're not that. And even if you give him that, I'm not convinced he will be that. So Nuno's taking him out. Put Tongi in. Finally, someone swallowed their pride on that one. We've seen a couple of decent performances from Tongi. From the Villa game wasn't his best. But I'm sure if you ask anyone in the Tottenham kind of fan base besides Sid, I think we're much better with him than without him. I think it calls out for it. I think Delhi on the ball is at the moment a bit of a donkey. I think Skip is making a case that he has to be getting in there now. And I think like a permanent fixture. And I think Højbjerg is Højbjerg. He's not leaving anywhere, right? So if you look at that midfield, you kind of have to slot Tongi in there somewhere because the creativity is coming. And if you're thinking of Lo Celso, not having it. The Argentinian Lee Catamol, I'm not having it. I'm not having it. If he was not called Giovanni, he would be in the Championship playing under, I don't know, Sam Allardyce. He'd be at Stoke. He's a classic Stoke player. I don't know what we've done to him, but to be honest, I mean, the Argentinians love him because when you look at South American football, fantastic. Go kick someone, bro. I mean, we had it with Lamella. Go stamp on someone. Like that's his game. Fair play to him. You know, we aren't looking for a professional stomper at the moment, but he does his thing. But I mean, yeah, in terms of filling in a creative gap, I don't give him that. In terms of Tongi's been running for 60 minutes and he's decided to stop running and we need someone to come in and run again, he can absolutely do that. And he's not bad enough that the team takes a humongous drop. At least he offers some form of something off the bench, which I'm fine with. Do that off the bench. There's a few players like that, like Lucas. I'm fine if you come off the bench and do what you do. You know, he's had a few decent performances this season, but I like I say, I think Lucas should be utilised in the way Man City utilised Raheem Sterling, in terms of we are fine with you losing the ball. Just go change the game. Go run at your defender 100 times and just create some pressure, which I'm fine with off the bench. Another evolution after the saga we've had with the South American players in our team, I think we've seen our back. I think we know our back four. Yeah, okay, we kind of know our back four. We know our left back, Sergio. We know our centre backs, Romero and Dyer. And I think we know our right back is more than likely Emerson Royale. What's his name? Jaffet. Where Jaffet slots back into that, I don't know. But I think Nuno, it's hard to take Emerson Royale out after the Villa game. I would be honest with you though, I'm not sold on Emerson Royale. Not sold at all. I do not think that he's a good player. You know what? I think he's the kind of player who, how can I explain this? He's purely, I see no composure. Like every time something goes well for him, I think it was lucky, if you know what I mean. Like I think even if he does the most amazing thing ever, I still feel like he was lucky because I don't see the composure, right? I feel like if you give him the ball again in that situation and it happens again, the next time is going to result in something bad. That's the impression I get from him. He's not a fullback that fills me with confidence. Having said that, neither Sessegnon. I don't have a problem with Tanganga as a fullback, right? I don't have a problem with him at all, but I just think it'll be harsh to kick Emerson Royal out at the moment, and it's because he had a good game against Villa. But I think in the long term, there's a likely chance he gets found out. I mean, the player that he's just replaced, Aurier, is exactly like that. He's a player who may have an incredible game, but the same set of circumstances happen in another game, and he's off his head. You know, you just never know what you're going to get with him, and that's what I feel like. It's different when you watch a centre back that you can tell is class and is composed. You know, a fullback that just knows what they're doing. They fill you with the feeling of competency when you watch them play, and I don't get that feeling with Royale. And to be honest, I don't get it with Tanganga either. I don't know if it's just because I know the backstory, but I still feel like he's learning how to play fullback. Like, every time he gets the ball and he's out wide or he's driving, I'm like, my arms are crossed. I'm like, all right, like, what are you gonna do here? Like, is there gonna be quality this time? So to me, and I think for probably most of the fan base who know he's not a right back by, you know, his upbringing, by breeding, he's kind of under the microscope, if you know what I mean. He's one that we're watching, like, if you could just figure this out. And to be honest, he's not miles behind Emerson Royale. Like, Emerson Royale isn't fantastic going forward. Do you know what I mean? He's not fantastic going forward, but he's probably a more natural ball player from what I can see. He's a more natural footballer in the sense of the word. That's where we're at. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with our back two. I said, in terms of centre backs, I said last time, as much as this Dyer and Sanchez thing is happening, I'm not going to give this 38 games. I'm not going to wait until we're ranting and raving, saying, how could we paid 50? Like, no, just get one of them out. And I said, like, Sanchez is probably the better centre back, right? But Dyer's personality, it's something, you know, with Romero being 23, I think there's a possibility Nuno didn't want too much youth in the back four. So I can understand how Dyer ends up getting the nod. And you know what? Sanchez probably isn't that young. I'm not too sure how old he is. But is Sanchez going to be back there demanding and vocally pulling the strings? You know, I doubt it. We know what Dyer was as an enforcer in CDM under Poch when he was at his best. And we know that he has that personality. We know he has that drive to be a Tottenham player. You know, like, he has a combative nature to him. So, I mean, we've seen the trim. So we saw the trim post lockdown. That guy, yeah, he's hanging out with Højbjerg too much. But yeah, we know what kind of personality type he is. So for now, I'm fine with it. I'm still not over the moon with him as a defender. Like I say, over 38, we saw the goal. I mean, it's more Romero's fault than his, to be fair. So I'm not gonna go at him too much about that goal against Villa. But you know, as realistically as I can hope for, the centre back pairing is going well. You know, it's going well. Romero's in there, is making an impact, and I think we've signed a proper player there. The under end of the pitch, not even a development, but what can you call it? Quicksand. That's what it is right now. It's quicksand. Harry Kane is running on quicksand, and it's not the player. It's not the player that we're used to seeing. Like, quite clearly, he's not the Kane that we know. He looks even more painfully slow, which is something we've kind of accepted. But he was sharp. Do you know what I mean? Kane never had to be quick. He just needed a yard, with which he could do. He just needed a yard, and he was so clever. And I don't know if the way we are playing lends itself to him dropping in so deep. I don't think it lends itself to that. He looks stranded. He looks stranded. It doesn't look like he knows where to get the goals. Do you know what I mean? You know, you watch some strikers and you know they're short of confidence, right? But the chances are coming and they may miss, or that this might happen. You can explain it. Oh yeah, he's short on confidence. But watching Kane, he actually looks lost sometimes. Um, it looks like sometimes you want him arriving, he may not be arriving. Sometimes you want him um, working a yard and it just rolls off his foot or something. He's not. He's not sharp. He's not. He's not what we're used to. You know. He's his intelligence and his movements in terms of getting goals are being compromised, I think, to a much larger degree than we hope, by his desire to be involved in games. And I mean, we talked about should we sell him or not. I've always been pro sell Kane because as an NBA fan, I'm very, very, very much used to the idea of if we're not going anywhere, blow it up and start again. Like that's classic NBA thinking. Like if you're a middling team and you have a superstar, what the hell are we doing with him? You know, like this. They've got this. We're middling with absolutely no prospects of achieving the big things we believe we can achieve. Right. So why have we got this guy in the prime of his career? Let's trade him. Let's get some younger assets who fit our timeline, right? Kane is 28. Clearly doesn't want to be at Spurs. Made it very clear for over, like it wasn't even through the transfer market. It was before the transfer market made it clear they didn't want to be here. And you know, we sat through it with our hands in our arms, declining calls, blocking numbers, turning on no call ID, and I never saw the point because yeah, we keep Kane, and then what? Do you know what I mean? We keep Kane, but we're buying Reguilon. We're loaning Sessegnon. We're trying to integrate Tangai. Tanganga. We're trying to integrate what's his name again? Emerson. Trying to integrate Romero, Reguilon. Like the age of these players, right? It's not in line with a team that has every intention of winning now. Like, Lucas Moura isn't gonna carry us anything. The next best thing is then Brian Hill, who we just bought, who's young. Um, it's just it doesn't make sense to me that we've kept him with the timeline that we're working to, with the kind of players that we buy. Because if that's the plan, sell him and buy another player within that age group who can be within that timeline. Do you know what I mean? Like they ascend together. So you get Ericsson, Kane, Dyer when he's good, when he was good. You get Toby, Vertonghen, Danny Rose. That's a team that peaked together, you know. And we've got players who are at their peak, playing with players who are trying to figure out how to play in the Premier League. So the direction and the timelines, it's keeping it for the sake of keeping it and hoping that it just leads us to something. But quite clearly the guy doesn't want to be there. Like what happened last season was already asking a lot from him. And yeah, unlikely that it was going to happen again. But yeah, to be fair, I do feel sorry for the guy because like I say, Tottenham isn't, like if you wanted to leave Tottenham and you're stuck in Tottenham, it's not like wanting to leave Chelsea and you're stuck in Chelsea and you're like, oh well, I'll just win the Champions League. It's not. It's you know, you're thinking I'm leaving. You're watching us chase a manager for God knows how long. You're watching us play revolving doors and you know, like what's the game with the chairs? You know the game. I can't remember the game, but I think you guys know the game, right? And musical chairs. There we go. With managers pulling the rug on Conte, pulling the rug on Gattuso, you're just watching and you're just thinking, no, don't worry, I'm going to be under Pep next year. Like, it's not the same as, it's a toxic place, like I say, where we're 3 games away from calling for our manager to lose his job at any given moment. So yeah, I'm not surprised he's not playing well. There's a reason why players who don't want to play for a team are sold. Modric refused to train, forced his way out, got his move, and Bale did the exact same thing, refused to train, forced his way out. Harry Kane thought he could do the same thing. Man City clearly played with him like a fiddle. I mean, this is a team that doesn't have a striker. Wasted no time paying 100 million for Jack Grealish, and they kind of twiddle their thumbs when it comes to Harry Kane, showing no real intent other than saying, "Nah, we want him, you know." And so he's just kind of sat there thinking, what could have been? And now we're asking him to go out and play, and he doesn't look like he wants to, and it don't surprise me. Just as a human being, it don't surprise me. I'm going to work right now, and I'm just like, I'm having a patch where even I don't want to do the frickin' work. So I can't imagine Harry Kane. Do you know what I mean? You know, sometimes you lose motivation. Sometimes you're not in a place where, and you can't help it. You know, I don't think Kane is playing badly on purpose. I just don't think Tottenham is an environment that lends itself to saying, you know what, let's kick on. It's not. I don't think it's fun. I think we've seen Son recognize the magnitude of the moment, right? When we see Son come out and play, he's playing with a chip on his shoulder. He's playing with just an intensity, you know. He's picking players up. He's demanding. He's captaining, you know. Like he's a proper leader. He loves Spurs. Like we've known this, but I feel like Son is, especially the Villa game, understood the magnitude of the moment. And you know, one of my favourite Son moments is when Kane was injured. I can't remember which game it is, and he scores, and he's like, "Do you forget who I am?" Like that's the kind of person Son is, you know. That's a guy who's from a country where if you don't win an international trophy, you risk going to do military service, you know, and that's the character of the man. There's no relent in him. Much lesser players, with their contract running out, with the condition that Spurs were in, you think they're signing on? Like, Son's a tremendous player. He could have gone anywhere, but he just promised us, like, I'm signing this contract. We had our sagas, and Son never wilted. He never wilted. Stood by his word, and every time he goes out there, you can tell he plays for the badge, and that is a lot that can be said for the man. There's a lot that can be said for the man, you know. And like I say, I don't blame Kane for wanting to leave, but it only adds to the credit you have to then give Son for sticking out when his contract was in a position where he could have left, you know. And he's a top player. He's proving it again right now. And, you know, he's here to stay. He's here to play for the badge. And what can you say? You just got to love the man. You've got to love the man. Sonaldo, he lives up to that Sonaldo, the mentality that he's taken us forward with. Even the Arsenal goal, when he's, you know, calling the players forward, and yeah, that's a real purple patch for us right now. Going forward, in terms of what I think we can hope for, right? I asked what is a good season for Spurs, and someone said a trophy. I think it was Shane. A trophy and nothing else, right? Like the league doesn't even matter. Someone said, well, Darius said, right? Someone said, if we make progress and we can see tangible steps towards what we're going to be, that's a good season. And realistically, I think I have to say, do I want to rule out top 6? I can't even rule out top 6. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm looking at it now. We are really, really bad, right? We were really, really bad last season, and we still were hanging on to top 6. I think top 6 is on the cards. A trophy, however, I've seen us too many times since Poch left pretty much roll over against big teams and then say, oh, what can you expect, you know? I have no confidence going into big games anymore. And if we do win them, I do think it's mostly luck. So I think we can take ourselves as far as we can in a cup until we play a real team, of which I don't think we then have what it takes to put together the performance that we need, unless God is on our side. But if we have to play two big teams in a tournament, I think we're cooked. So I can't with any confidence say we're going to win a trophy. So I'm going to say top six, right? Top six minimum for a good season. Based on what we're at, we're eighth. You know, we're playing horrendous. We're eighth. There's a couple of teams in that I'm pretty sure that are going to drop out. We've got Everton, Brighton, Brentford above us. I mean, Leicester's still loitering around the bottom bit. Arsenal aren't that much worse than us, but I mean, they're Arsenal to be fair. So you know the turmoil's coming. We aren't in a horrendous position to be top six. I think we can expect top six. You know, I want to see Brian Hill get integrated. I want to see either Emerson or Tanganga really grow into their role as these fullbacks that are getting up and down the pitch. And I want to be able to know what our style of play is, right? And then hopefully we know what Kane is doing for us by the end of this season. But for me, going forward now, after this international break, I think we have to make a push, right? We have to establish ourselves in that top bracket of six. We have to start deciding Bergwijn, Brian Hill, either of them. I want to get them in form. I want to get them so we have that wing position nailed down, and I want to get our fullbacks actually building into our attacks. Those are the things that I would like for us this season. Obviously, I'd like a trophy, but realistically speaking, I don't even think that we're gonna be that great in the Conference League. You know, I think these players are catfish us a little bit. I think we're too familiar with them to a point we think that they're possibly better than what they are when there's a few teams that can probably match us in world football even within that Conference League. So yeah, I'm gonna keep my expectations on the trophy moderate, but you know, sixth in the Premier League, not a lot to ask for. Not a lot to ask for. Let's make that push. Good run of games, and I think it's well within our reach. But yeah, it's been Nigel's Views. Please like and subscribe, and I will be back. Thank you.